Well, now we're journeying beyond Vaughn towards Santa Rosa. We're between Vaughn and Santa Rosa. And I don't know, I thought I'd turn the video back on just because, you know, we talk about, you know, vast empty spaces. You know, and New Mexico is famously full of, you know, vast empty spaces between, you know, what are often some very interesting communities and, you know, good mountain ranges. But, you know, there's a lot of, once again, everywhere in the world is important to some people. You know, there's local people, there's ranchers out in that immensity, and this is where they live. But to the average person, to the average motorist, this is kind of the epitome of, you know, what they're talking about when they say, oh, you know, I drive through New Mexico and it's just, you know, miles of nothing. So this is pretty much brings, you know, nothing to the most extreme point, or these stretches in central New Mexico between places like Vaughn, Santa Rosa, Fort Sumner, so on and so forth. Central New Mexico, just sort of an unknown, a lot of the people are trickling out even to the bigger towns. It's just an unknown part of the country with, you know, infinite space. It's all grazed by cattle. I mean, none of this is vacant. It's economically productive land, and it's good short grass pasture. And if you want to buy some land, it won't be as cheap as you're thinking it is. It's by no means an undesired asset. The homes in the small towns can be very, very cheap, and to an extent they are an undesired asset. But the land itself is, you'd be surprised. You better get your checkbook out if you want 500,000 acres out here. It's not for, your average middle class person could not afford a cattle pasture out here that we're driving through. And I don't know, you probably can't see on the cell phone, but you've got the wind turbines in the distance, and that's kind of another feature. You know, as it depopulates out here, more and more area seems to be taken up by wind turbines. That adds kind of an additional eerie tone to the big empty of New Mexico. And it's kind of funny because it's obviously out here, it's very big and it's very empty, but you know, I wouldn't say that the outdoor opportunities are even particularly extraordinary. This part of the state is pretty heavily private land. So obviously there's, you know, there's deer, there's antelope, there's, you know, elk in places. But in this area, we don't really have the benefit of the large national forests, the large Bureau of Land Management. So it doesn't even really have a strong draw, even for the types of, you know, outdoor recreation that it would be naturally suited for. So it's like I started out by saying, it's pretty much as close to the pure miles of nothing as you'll get.